Martin Scorcese believes that comic book movies are low art. In a recent interview about his stupid new movie, he basically said that it's not cinema. I'm not going to quote him because it's not worth quoting. You don't quote an idiot. But basically he's saying that comic book movies are below his level of shit. But before I get into the meat of this, this YouTube thing, I'm going to talk about the potatoes. I'm going to give you an anecdote of something that just happened to me an hour ago. And this is in the spirit of the Joker. So I'm walking down the street, which is never advisable. It's not a good idea. I'm always hesitant to do such a thing. And of course, only bad things are going to happen. I'm walking down the street, and some guy in a car, I don't know what his issue was, but he stopped his car, and there were 10 cars lined up behind him. And people were getting out of their cars and going up to him to yell at him. So I was like, this is interesting. So I sat down right in front of his car, and I just started laughing at him. And in between my laughter, I'm like, there's 10 people behind you that have places to go. And the people who were approaching him in anger, they started laughing too. I caused the laughter. I just made it into a mockery. And the guy that was holding up the traffic, I think he was humiliated, and he just got back in his car and started driving. So I probably saved 10 lives right there. Such is the healing power of laughter. Mark Twain wrote in his book Letters from the Earth, he wrote, human beings have only one weapon that can destroy God or whatever. And he goes, laughter, and they never use it. The trick is that you can't be pretending to laugh. It has to be sincere. And then it just deflates everybody. It just wins every argument. Okay, but now for the meat of the article, if we're going to call it that. Martin Scorsese thinks that Marvel movies are lower art than his movies. Now this really amounts to a half retard making fun of calling a full retard stupid. Now, first of all, of course Marvel movies are not high art. That's not Picasso. It's not Leonardo da Vinci. This is low-level art for the masses. It's still art. It's just low art. There's no deep insights in these movies. James Gunn, I didn't really like Guardians of the Galaxy. Apparently, he put his heart and soul in it, and that's really sad. Because that movie sucks. I watched it again, and I'm still trying to figure out why everybody likes it. It's too comedic. Some of the jokes are cringe-worthy. I mean, the only good thing about the movie is the only heartfelt thing is the main character Quill's mother and the connection he has with her. Other than that, and even that, there's no real insights there. So yeah, it's not going to be remembered as great art. It's not great art. It's mainly pablum for the masses. It's like baby food. But for what it is, I love it. I mean, I like to eat a chocolate bar now and then. There's nothing wrong with that. It's fun. I mean, it's really sad to think that people like James Gunn or Joss Whedon think that they're creating great art when they make this shit. I thought they knew that this is just, a soap opera with space, with action scenes. But now on to the topic of Martin Scorsese. I've never liked his movies. I've always found them pretty boring. I've always been stupefied by why people think he's so great. Steven Spielberg, too. I don't like any of his... I think his movies are garbage. They're very shallow. Robert McKee, who wrote the Bible on screenwriting, who had a character that was portrayed in the movie Adaptation, played by... what the fuck's his name? Played by Brian Cox. He played the character of Robert McKee, a satire of him. Anyways, Robert McKee said that Steven Spielberg and Martin Scorsese are incredible film directors, but they have nothing to say. And I was like, thank God somebody also agrees with me on this. They're empty. They have no meaning in their movies. And since when has Martin Scorsese ever written anything? When has he written a story? I don't think he ever has. He takes other people who've written stories, he takes their stories, and he puts them to camera. He mainly tells biographies of people, so it's not even a story. It's just based on fact. If real storytellers didn't exist, Martin Scorsese wouldn't be able to make movies. He depends on them the same way a musician depends on a composer. And there's a big difference between the two. A musician is on a lower level than a composer, in the same way that a director is on a lower level to a writer. The writer creates the whole thing. So Martin Scorsese For him to even, like, weigh in on the art question, I mean, dude, you do nothing. The whole argument is as stupid as a rapper saying that DJs aren't doing real art because they're just, like, spinning records while they actually have to come up with raps while they use music from people's songs that they didn't write. And then the rock music people, they say rap is lower than them, and they're right. And then the classical musicians say that rock music's lower than them, and they're right. And then the Baroque composers say that classical's lower than them, and they're right. So, like, DJing is the lowest of the low. And for rappers to say that DJing is an art is just laughable. Like, you're doing the second to bottom thing. And that's what Martin Scorsese is doing. He's doing the second to the bottom of art. And he's criticizing the bottom of art. And at the end of the day, he's obviously just bitter because he's not getting the whole market anymore because of Marvel movies, right? He's obviously not getting the money that he would get if Marvel didn't exist. He's just bitter. And that's fine. You know, Cry Me a River. Poor Martin Scorsese. He's had a whole lifetime of getting the spotlight. Oh, and now he's not getting as much of the spotlight. Aw, what a shame. That's tragic. I can't even get 10 views on my YouTube channel. I can't even sell one copy of my book. And I'm supposed to feel sorry for Martin Scorsese? I'm also supposed to feel sorry for Steven Spielberg because he's not making the kind of money he made. The thing is, these guys were all friends growing up in the, like, 70s. And they took Hollywood by storm. They had unprecedented success. They were the Golden Boys. And I guess they really believed it. Because now that they're not the Golden Boys, it rubs them the wrong way. They're like, this isn't fair. I'm supposed to be the only genius. I'm supposed to be the only one who sells $1 billion worth of a movie. You know, and then Marvel comes along and kicks them in the balls. And they're like, oh shit, I guess I'm not the greatest. Maybe I'm human after all. I'm not like the toast of the town anymore. Well, they should buckle their seatbelts because it's only going to get worse. 100 years from now, nobody's going to give a fuck about E.T. the Extraterrestrial or Goodfellas. It'll just be there for nostalgia. Oh yeah, this was a big movie at the time. It's like Madonna, you know. She's famous not because she's the best, but because she was the first. She was the first female who sold sex, like, overtly or explicitly. But she won't go down as, like, the greatest anything. She'll just go down as the first. And the first really isn't much. I mean, you're lucky that you were the first one to do it. I mean, let's even go to, where were we going to go? Elvis Presley or Marilyn Monroe. They didn't do anything the best. They were just the first. And that's all they're going to be known for. Same with the Beatles. I mean, I think every successful artist should have a humbling realization that maybe I was just lucky. Maybe I'm not the best. Maybe I'm just the one that made it. When they say things like, oh, the best movie of all time. Of all time, we've only had movies for 100 years. So of all time, like, there weren't movies a billion years ago. So all time doesn't really count for much. And it's not the best movie of all time because there might have been a better movie that nobody saw. Can you imagine how many great filmmakers there are out there who never sold out and that's why they're not well known? Like myself. Martin Scorsese, fuck him. and the something he wrote in on. There's a funny thing I could say there. I don't know what it is yet. Fuck him and the taxi he wrote in on. Fuck Steven Spielberg and the E.T. he wrote in on. Anyways, I don't really enjoy making videos like this. I hate bitching about shit, if you can believe it. And I'm just going to stop reading I got to stop reading movie news because this is just so insulting. Martin Scorsese is talking about art. He's actually an art critic. It's really like watching the blind what's the expression? Call other people blind? You know, did you know that he made the same movie like 10 times in a row with Joe Pesci and Robert De Niro? It was the same movie every time. Gangs of New York sucked shit. That movie with Jack Nicholson sucked shit. What was it called? It was just stupid FBI bullshit with Matt Damon. The Wolf of Wall Street was depressing and, like, ugly. It was just a nasty story. I would never watch that again. It's depressing. And again, he's just telling somebody's life story. Jordan something. The only movie I actually like by him is called Kundun, which is a story of the biography of the Dalai Lama. And there's obvious reasons why I would like that, because it's actually a nice movie. It's a nice story. But again, he didn't write it. Anyways, I guess that's it. Fuck you, Martin Scorsese. Rot in hell. You deserve a very boring place in hell. If you like gays, click like. If you like blacks, comment. If you like women, click notification bell. If you like gay women, subscribe. And if you like gay black women, Patreon, human warnings. Give me money.